Chefs of Reddit, what is your least favorite dish to prepare from the menu where you work? When I was a cook I used to hate making quesadillas. We made them in skillets and I only had 6 burners to cook everything in my part of the kitchen with. When groups would come in and order 4 quesas and some other dishes and I would get yelled at because I took longer than the 15-minute window we were given drove me mad sometimes. Yes, they are easy to make. Just they take up too much space and cause a backup of tickets when they come in bunches. I like this comment. I've often been in the frame of mind it's just eggs. It doesn't take long at all, but I didn't even consider that perhaps the kitchen just ran out of room to cook stuff. Very insightful. Fresh pasta blows, but that's what prep cooks are for. Cleaning steaks is only fun and relaxing if you have time to chill for a half hour. Otherwise it feels like it takes forever. Also frick muscle nights. My old exec chef would punish people by making them clean the chain from the tenderloin. If you couldn't get more than 2-3 ounces of decent size bites you got chewed on a bit. I used to hate cooking fresh lobsters at Red Lobster. I would have to get it out of the tank and stab it in its freaking neck, rip its stomach open, and cook it. Which by the way, it gets cooked in a microwave on steroids, unless you order it grilled. My grandfather cooked at the theme building at LAX in the late 50s early 60s. He said he used to rub their bellies and it would knock them out before he had to kill them. Not sure how true that is, but worth a try. Sugar work. I actually really like sugar work in a quiet empty setting, but this never exists in a commercial kitchen. I guess I wasn't so passionate to do much in my home kitchen, so my experience was always dangerous and crazed. The last kitchen I worked at, the pastry area, didn't have a stovetop by it, so you would literally have to dodge line cooks to claim a burner, then stand there and watch. We didn't use candy thermometers, and at a certain level of experience, it's not necessary anyhow. You can see when it turns. Everything is about timing, precision, and cleanliness. Special pots kept separate from the savory side. Dang near killed an intern who used one of our pots to make some crappy broken sauce. When it was at that point, you'd grab it off the burner and sprint back to your station and work frantically away. Too far gone and it was ruined. You've wasted precious prep time before service. Sugar burns are terrible. Grabs onto your skin and sticks. Liquid sugar is basically napalm. Frick that stuff. When I worked at Panera, everyone hated making the roasted turkey avocado BLT. It was on the smallest bread and would always fall apart. A sandwich with 6 different types of bacon, a maple bacon glaze and bacon aioli. It is an absolute mess and the glaze burns on the trays super easy once it's put in the salamander. I'm a catering cook and we have a number of things that are rather annoying. Any sort of past puff, because pate au chucks is a pain in the butt. Squeezing 500 dabs of it genuinely hurts. Roasted veg. 15 hotels pans of raw veg just gets boring to make. Fruit displays. They take a while to prep, and no one eats them. Prosciutto wrapped blue cheese filled dates. Yes, they are delicious, but I have to make 400 for your 200 guests and a lot of people don't eat dates or blue cheese. Anything skewered. Again, a lot of labor. I'm sick of spring mix, goat cheese, apple, cider and salads. Can we get a new trend? No one wants to be the first person to disassemble a fruit display. I promise, next time I am at a function that is one, I will dig in. I worked the overnight shift in a bakery. To this day, I don't even like to eat donut holes, let alone make them. We had this giant stainless steel gadget that I was supposed to fill, then crank so it dispensed small bits of batter into the deep fryer. But it was messy, time consuming, and really a 2-person job if only for purposes of basic kitchen safety. Also, they never really trained me on how to use that thing. A buddy of mine was a short order cook at a diner, and his pet hate was having to poach eggs. But poached eggs are like eggs 101. Just a cook here, but I hate making Chicago dogs. I work at a mom and pop ice cream and sandwich shop, and the sheer amount of things I have to pile on one hot dog and try and make it presentable annoys the crap out of me. There are a lot more labor intensive items, but nothing annoys me like that dang dog. Also, I hate Chicago dogs anyway, so maybe just a built-in bias. I don't think anyone getting a Chicago dog is concerned with presentation. And to the customers, don't refuse to order something just because you find that cooks don't like to make it. After all, it's our job and we are supposed to cook what you order. I appreciate your comment, but I'm still going to try to remember the big offenders here. Most of the time I can't make up my mind, and knowing something is frustrating to make can help me narrow down my list. Used to work at an independent family restaurant in Canada and they used to have a tower of poutine. It was a terrible burden for the cooks to prepare and us servers could never get it to the table in one piece. Cobb salad, I guess. Really, it's not that bad though. Just a lot of crap on a salad that has the potential to make a mess on my station. The Cobb salad is an interesting piece of culinary history. They wanted a salad and said take lettuce, then just throw a bunch of crap on it. When you think it's excessive, keep going. Hard cream cheese on a fresh cinnamon sugar bagel. I work at Bruegger's Bagels and that is the one single thing that I hate making. In case you don't know how New York style bagels are made, you have to boil, kettle them before you put them in the oven so that they get that nice outer shell. Cinnamon sugar bagels, however, don't get kettled because for some reason cinnamon sugar bagels taste better soft. This means they are a B to prepare straight out of the oven though. First you have to try to slice an extremely squishy, sticky, hot bagel by hand. Then, if the customer wants anything besides a whipped cream cheese, you have to try to evenly spread it onto the bagel without completely flattening it all while the cream cheese instantly melts upon contact with the bagel. So, if you ever order cream cheese on a hot cinnamon sugar bagel at Bruegger's, don't be surprised when it's mangled and hideous. Take a portion of the cheese and boil it with an ice cream scoop. Squash it evenly between two pieces of parchment to the size of the bagels. Refrigerate. When you get an order, just unwrap it and drop it on the bagel. Done. No killing your bagel. Saves time and is consistent. I've heard eggs benedict is an awful dish to cook between the time it takes to make poached eggs well and the time it takes to hollandaise sauce well. This makes me feel awful because I love me some bennies. A proper eggs benedict is a great test of a cook. Motherfucking poached eggs. Let me tell you a story. It's Sunday. You went hard last night. So did everyone else on your crew. You're all running on 4 hours of sleep on the 6th day of your shift because Monday is the day the restaurant is closed. Last month the owner decided brunch was a good idea, so that fat bastard and his friends could come in and drink mimosas all day. You put on 2 pots of water and add just the right amount of vinegar to them, keeping one just warm and the other in front of it just under boiling. You know 2 isn't enough for service, but you don't have space for any more. It's like seeing that your car doesn't have any brakes but driving towards a cliff anyways. But what can you do? It's service time. Ordering 3 Benny, 4 frittata, 2 lobster grits, 1 fruit platter, 10 muesli. The day begins. The water of pot 1 starts getting cloudy from the first 6 eggs dropped for the benedicts. 2 hours pass. Pot 1 is now only half full. Looks like milk with bits in it. You can smell the vinegar in it searing on the sides of the pot. That's 1 down. You run it to dish. Put a rush on it but you know the dishwasher is backed up. 1 pot left. 3 more hours pass. As the poached egg orders keep coming and the water gets worse, you start adding in extra eggs to compensate for the ones you break trying to get them out. It's 11:30. Order 8 Benny, SOS 4, hard poached 2. That's the moment. That's the motherfucking moment the water shoots the bed. The mass of egg white on the bottom and the opacity of the water makes putting in 16 eggs impossible, let alone the 18-20 you'd need to actually get the order done. The first pot doesn't even have water in it. Your head is still freaking throbbing, and why the frick do you even have to deal with this crap on a Sunday? Holy crap, we still have dinner service. Freaking kill me. Jose just slit my freaking throat now. Jose, I can't freaking take it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why I hate making poached eggs. Okay, obligatory, not a chef. In fact, right now I don't even cook professionally, but I do work in food service as a cake decorator at a grocery store, and I am so frickin' sick of doing the Paw Patrol cake. It uses every frosting color and has infinite detail, and every frickin' kid wants it for their birthday. I enjoy the fun of what I do, but I'm over it. I will throw a party the day they discontinue that design. Former pizza cook. We had red sauce pies and white sauce pies. White was olive oil, ricotta, and garlic. Red was normal marinara. Some people just had to have a half white, half red pizza. It took twice as long and ended up cooking funny because the white side would be done first, then they'd be when the price was higher than a normal pizza. That honestly doesn't sound appetizing either. Triple decker clubs. I hate making those. They take the longest to make, and when you're busy with like 30 orders, you ain't got time for that crap. Mise en place mate. Preset that crap. Not a chef but cook at a pizza chain. Basically anything not pizza. Not that making anyone side was a pain. It was more the people that would order only sides, like hey let's get pizza chain, okay everything but pizza. And the palm bites took as long to make as anything else and was just half a dough ball with a little bit of cheese for like $6. Jeez. Domino's palm bites are $2.99 and I love them. I also always order wings. I am deeply sorry. Pizzas at a concession stand at a low-end movie theater are a pain for everyone involved. Also when people ask for layered butter when there already isn't popcorn in the popper. Not a cook but I'm an expo for a busy restaurant and I freaking hate soup. It sloshes everywhere when I move the bowl and servers hate to run it. I would much rather do your 6-step fajitas over a bowl of soup any day. Frick soup. This makes me sad because I love soup. I make soup all the time at home. A huge variety of them, especially during winter. My roommate loathed making nachos of a specific style in the kitchen he worked at. They slowed down the whole process of the line. I never told him, but if anyone was asking for restaurant suggestions I'd suggest where he worked and said they made great nachos. Po' boys. Anytime they get put on the menu, I prayed no one would order it. It takes up both halves of the fryer. Buttermilk gets everywhere. The buns had to steal space from kitchen 2 on the flat top, and it all had to be assembled on time. And if you had to make anything else for the same order, GLHF. Former sandwich artist here. I cursed anyone who ordered all toppings and more than 2 sauces on their sub. It's disgusting and dang near impossible to close. When someone wants something gluten-free, not enough people order gluten-free so we don't prep it beforehand. And gluten-free pizza bases take ages to cook as opposed to normal. Just slows you down when it's busy. I also always wonder if the person is actually a celiac or just decided to go gluten-free because it's the thing to do now. People in LA are deathly afraid of gluten. I swear to God, you could rob a liquor store in this city with a bagel. Ryan Reynolds. Hard fried crab. No question. If you don't know what it is, let me explain to you using this step-by-step guide. 1. First you have to grab a crab from the freezer, crack the crab open, and take the insides out of it. 2. Next, you have to grab a crab cake and put it on top of the crab you just broke up in step 1. 3. Put all of that in batter without the crab cake falling off or breaking up, otherwise, you have to start over and throw away crab cake. Wonderful. 4. Next, put it in the fryer, also big enough to take up half of one fryer. Very inconvenient for other orders, and wait for 10-12 minutes. 5. While the hard crab is cooking you need to grab 2 big paper bags and stuff one in the other. Afterwards you have to stuff the second bag with lots of wax paper to prevent the crab from burning through the bag. 6. Ding ding. Congratulations. Your hard crab is officially done. Now you've got to take the hard crab out and let the crabby sit for 2 minutes outside of the fryer. 7. Last but not least, you have to put the hard crab in the bag without the claws ripping the bag, or the crab cake shell breaking. That's all there is to it. Now, try to imagine having 7 of those in one order. D. Okay, but that sounds delicious. I worked at a place that made homemade donuts and then pre-peppered donuts. People will get vicious over the maple bar. I could put out trays and trays of them and still at the end of the day when I'm closing bakery side, some person will make a big stink about how we don't have a maple bar in the case. Tip: Sunday mornings are huge for older people and they would come in and get donuts by the dozen for after church. If you come in at 12 expecting a full donut display, yeah, you missed out. I was the steward at a high-end hotel. I once had to do 850 tuxedo strawberries. Each one had to have a bow tie and 3 buttons. The process is a pain in the butt. You first have to dip them in white chocolate, Let them dry. Then roll them in dark chocolate but leaving enough white chocolate to resemble the undershirt. Once both layers are dry, then you pipe on the bow tie and buttons. Took me all freaking day. Also was the chef de cuisine at a fine dining farm to table restaurant. Every one of our entrees were a 4 to 5 pan pickup. So on extremely busy nights you hated life. Not a chef, but as a dishwasher my least favorite dish to clean is definitely any vegan vegetarian dish because they use large chunks of onion and peppers, which get stuck in my dishwasher trap. Edit. Dishwashers, ex and current. Hate cleaning cheese off of plates. Also cake. Cleaning cake off the top and bottom of a plate sucks. This is going to sound super pretentious, but as a chef, my number one job is to love everything I have to do. If you do not put equal passion and honor and love for each dish and each customer who orders some difficult to make or custom order where they ask for everything on the side and well done, you simply should not be cooking. If a perfect night for me was only cooking the dishes I like to cook the way I liked them, I would never have a perfect night. I try to push myself to constantly love the crap I hate. Peeling veggies, butchering massive amounts of slimy product, shucking oysters until my hands are numb, heck, even mopping. This business has a huge rate of turnover, burnouts, and frankly surely that is totally a side effect of a chef's clockwork ability to learn a couple of advanced techniques and disciplines and then suddenly assume that they are God's gift to cooking and that everybody else should kiss their butt, read their minds and only order what makes the night easy. The amount of psychological abuse a chef does to themselves and others on a nightly basis is totally avoidable. It really is a shame, because it is the service industry and it should be about serving people. I have a motto I learned from my first mentor: every man a king. Clarification: I try to love it all. It does not always work. Some dishes are unavoidably time consuming, finicky, or a pain in the butt with their pickup, and mad respect to any chef because what I mean to say is it all sucks. It is all extremely hard and way more work than anyone could ever be compensated for. But that is my Bruce Banner secret: I hate it all and love it all equally. But also, it is never stapling or sucking dong. It's food. It's fun. Not pretentious. That's why cooking is called an art. An artist is an artist no matter the medium and subjects he is presented with, but rather how he approaches his creation. Then again, not everyone who wields a paintbrush is an artist. I wouldn't really call it a dish, but it is a food item that annoys the heck out of me to make. Barbecue prime rib sandwich. It's bread, cheddar, prime rib dipped in sauce, BBQ, tomatoes and used to have mayo until my boss decided it was too complicated to change a sign that didn't say it had it on there, so now we don't add it. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's a simple sandwich and by all accounts it tastes good. But to dip the prime rib without making a mess adds precious time to a sandwich that has to be out in less than 2 minutes. And when it comes up as the 8th sandwich in 2 minutes, you're almost certain to get bitched at. Then whenever I go on break and someone orders it, I come back to a station that is completely stained in that nasty buttauce just because people don't know how to use a pair of tongs and a pan at the same time. Pastry chef. Canals Bordeaux. Frick, I hated making those little finicky fricking things. Heat the molds. Heat the bees butter. Mixture of beeswax and butter. Heat that. Pour out said bees butter while sweating and scalding and burning your fingertips off. Pour the base into the molds. Try not to spill them over. Bake. Rotate drop temp. Tap them out of the molds. More burning and scalding. If you were lucky you got most to come out perfectly brown and caramelized. Private dinner parties. Sometimes 5-10 rounds of these frick tapas. They take a lots of little crappy ingredients I have to go all around the kitchen to get and arrange in a pleasing way, and because it's not a high seller it's not feasible to prep them. Frick dishes with lots of tiny things. That's because you're doing tapas in a non-tapas restaurant. Not a chef, but used to be friendly with the staff at one of my favorite restaurants. It's a burgers, pizzas, and awesome, complex salad place, where a lot of detail goes into ingredients picked, etc. Annoyed the frick out of them to make the classic Caesar salad. Like, they have all these amazing things, and you just want lettuce and dressing? Not a chef, but whenever someone orders the hot tea and I have to put it together, Most drinks can be made in 30 seconds or less, but hot tea takes for fricking ever and has so many little steps, each of which is in a different part of the restaurant, that it can absolutely throw off my whole timing rotation for the rest of the night depending on how demanding an evening it is. You have to grab a mug and take it up to the kitchen and fill it with hot water, set it aside, run back to the stand for a plate, a creamer jug and the box of tea options, set them aside, run to the bar for lemons, bring back to the stand and arrange pleasantly on a plate, set them aside, run back up to the kitchen, dump the now warmish water from the mug and refill with hot water, grab a teapot and fill with hot water, run hot mug and teapot back to stand, arrange nicely on tray with lemons, cream, sweeten a basket, tea box, teapot and mug. Bring whole thing out to table. Wait 3 minutes while customer debates the merits of English breakfast versus citrus black. 2 hours later, throw away and touch lemons and creamer in 3/4 pot of lukewarm water. Or, spend the rest of the night running up to the kitchen to refill teapot and replace lemons cream tea bags, further wasting time. I will only ever order hot tea when I know it takes 3 or fewer steps to prepare anymore. Sorry for the rant. TL. DR. Frick, prepping hot tea for a table. Sounds like prepping tea trays should be a part of your side work. I used to cook at a Mongolian grill and hated meals that had an absurd amount of sesame oil and poppy seeds. The poppy seeds would become a million tiny missiles. Short order cook here. I work in a fast-paced cafeteria style restaurant, and every time someone orders a buffalo burger, they take 8 minutes to cook, compared to everything else which is around 3-4 minutes. We have a seafood tower at work and it is the biggest pain in the butt. It has 2 bowls that go on a stand full of shaved ice. Then dependent on how many it's for, there's 2 4-shucked oysters, 2 4-boiled shrimp, chilled lobster tails, and 2 king crab legs, plus cocktail sauce and lemons. Without fail we will get slammed and at least half the crap isn't prepped. Or we have to shave ice at least 3 times a night. It's little stuff, but when you have 30 tickets up and you're waiting on shrimp or ice for 10 hours, it's a pain. Plus these things take up my entire tiny butt window, so I'm constantly calling for servers to run this crap so I can put plates up. Of course I get ignored, so now I'm trying to find room to make the rest of my stuff as all this seafood is dying in the window. Obligatory, not a chef, but I am often the sole person behind the counter at a coffee shop that also serves ice cream. Now, a scoop of ice cream is no problem. It's quick and I'm good at making it look pretty even if the ice cream is hard as heck. But milkshakes frick you. First of all, for walking into a coffee shop and ordering a milkshake. Second, now I have to get 12 ounces of hard ice cream into a cup, which is going to take forever. Third, the guy behind you heard milkshake and now he wants one. But there's only one blender. So now I have to dismantle and wash it while the line builds, and make another while the line builds, just to have the guy behind him order a small coffee, which I'm now going to give to him for free because he's been waiting 10 minutes for a small freaking coffee, all because you had to have a freaking pumpkin chai milkshake. And this is why I often tell people, oh, we just ran out of ice cream, so like almost everyone else on the thread, not a chef. But when I was a line cook at this one place, the new chef introduced not 1 but 2 dishes with a sauce reduction. Nothing like being busy as frick and then having to wait for a sauce to reduce. It was like watching paint dry in the middle of a firefight. Well, this may not be exactly what OP is asking, but easily, it's anything for fellow employees. Like some punk butt server who decides to order dinner for themselves 5 minutes before close after you have been there for 10 hours. No. I shut that down. For me it has to be sauerbraten. No matter how good or authentic the recipe, it still tastes like crap and looks like a literal pile of crap on the plate. Thank you. The best sauerbraten is when you throw the whole thing out and just make pot roast. I do cooking and prepping at Culver's fast food chain, and it's always a pain in the butt to prepare fish dinners because of how long it takes to fry the fish. Oysters. Place I used to work at offered 50-cent oysters on the half shell, or all you can eat for $30. I can still hear the chit machine printing my heck. Shuck 1 dozen, shuck 3 dozen, shuck 12 dozen. I used to collect the tiny oyster crabs each shift, and me and the other cooks would each pick one and race them to see who was buying the first round each night. When I used to work at Burger King, the way to pee everyone off during the lunch rush was I want an order of fresh french fries or give me a salad, but I want you to leave some stuff off it. Fresh fries equals thanks. You just screwed up our drive-through times. Specially made salad equals someone has to go in the back and make an entire salad just for one customer. When I worked at a bar I hated making fish and chips. The gooey batter got everywhere and it was a pain in the butt to clean the fryer after fish and chips night. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.